Oh man, guys. Y'all, I'm sorry. Hello everybody, I hope you're doing well today. I am very well aware the internet is not doing great right now. I've got like 2 minutes right here on this upload. I'm trying to upload a video real quick on my second channel. Is it lagging? Is it dropping off a lot for you guys? Let me know, because I can just cancel it if I must. If we absolutely have to, I can just hit the cancel button and we can start over later. But wanted to get this done real quick. It's glitchy, but there. Okay. All right. We're fighting the clock here. Come on, 91%. Come on. Yeah, I'm gonna have to stop this upload. Hold on 1 second, folks. How do I pause this? Can I just pause an upload without, like, completely deleting it? Cancel upload. Let's see if that does it. Oh, it's gone. I hate that. I hate doing that. All right. We should be good now. Yeah, just like that. We're all smooth. That's funny. It's funny how easily we can just push that off to the side. Thank you, YouTube, but no thanks. We don't need you right now. Well, we do. We've already got Tyrus. Why would we... Why would we need any sort of YouTube video when Tyrus is in here dropping 5 memberships? Join GII. Hashtag, dude. Much appreciation. My man. Came in here getting us started off on a good note for... Shoot, guys. All kinds of stuff today. We're going to start off with some roadmap news from Star Citizen. Believe it or not. What a roadmap, right? And then from there, we will be jumping into... I'm actually going to check out the Ship Showdown, because I never really look at this that much. I mean, I know it's a really cool community event. Probably got a lot of good stuff going on. I figured we... Oh, that is a child without a shirt on. I figure we go over this stuff a little bit together. Maybe bring some more awareness to it. And you guys can say which ship is best, because I don't know which ship is going to win this year, let's be honest. From there, I actually want to see what's going on Spectrum. I figure we can drop by and check out some of the drama if there is any. And then finally, inside Star Citizen. I have not watched it, so we'll do a little reaction today. And of course, finish that off with... well, I don't even know if we have the time for this, but in an hour, I want to hop on to Star Citizen Live with you guys, so we can watch that together. Sounds like it's going to be a good one. They're bringing in your boy Kawaku on Twitch, or also Elliot. Mission teams. He's probably going to have some good stuff to say about, like, mission modules. A lot of the details about how these new quests that they're bringing into Star Citizen are going to work together. They're kind of like puzzles. They can put these missions together in different ways, and then obviously wrap narrative around them and stuff. So he's going to talk a little bit about that, which should be good. What is my hot take on the whole PTU drama? Is there PTU drama? I saw that there was a change to the PTU. I didn't know there was drama coming from it. Cheers, though. Welcome, everybody. I'm sorry about that initial lag we got. We'll talk about some PTU drama. Why not? But Tyrus, dude, thanks. I don't know what we do to deserve it, man. But thank you for dropping the love at the beginning of the stream and for running some good events, folks. We got some solid GII events coming in. If you're in the org and you haven't gotten to play, or you're looking for some way to play, we've got cargo events, salvage events, mining events. We've got a joint discipline event coming up tomorrow that I will be taking part in. We'll be doing that on the stream. All kinds of stuff going on. So if you're in GII, check out the Discord. We've got, I think, 12 different things lined up for the next few days. Tyrus is in here running a couple of them. You think if we were in charge and the dev said it would be helpful if we staggered PTU access more for whatever reason, we would all say, okay, do it? Yeah. I guess let's hold up a second. Let me make sure I can record this just in case this is a good conversation. Let's talk about the PTU changes. So, in fact, I'm guessing there's like a thread on Spectrum about it. Yeah, here we go. All right, we'll start with this. We'll start with Spectrum. How about that? It's always a best place to start. It can only go uphill from there, right? So, it looks like they are changing up the waves in the PTU. For those who don't know, the PTU is the testing version of the game. Now, the game itself is a testing version of what Star Citizen is meant to be, but there are levels of stability, and the PTU is generally less stable than the PU. It is used temporarily to test the features that are coming into a patch before the patch launches. Imagine like Satisfactory's experimental servers. This would be kind of like a similar thing. So you get early access to some of the features that are coming, but none of the stuff you do matters because it's all getting wiped. Really, it could get wiped any day of the week that you're playing. So you're really just there to try things out, not to play permanently. What that means is that they have to spin up a ton of these servers and constantly send out updates for these servers, sometimes multiple times a week, which means a lot more data, a lot more transfers, a lot more traffic coming out of the web on their end. So they have to pay a lot more in terms of server prices and data transfer and all that stuff, which could be part of why they're making this change. But let's read what they actually had to say, since, I mean, why speculate when there's a whole paragraph here? So they basically explain what the PTU is. Historically, it has been granted in waves to control the number of players in the environment based on testing needs. More often than not, a new feature or build will benefit from a gradual increase in concurrency rather than a floodgate of traffic. This allows us to monitor a varying degree of scale to ensure that once content makes it into the live servers, it will be performant. As we all saw with 3.18. That worked very well. 3.18 PTU had almost daily wipes for a month. That was fun. Yeah, dude, imagine how much freaking data, because you're updating the PTU. It's like, what, maybe half a gig every time or so? You're sending that out to like 30,000 people 5 times a week, 4 weeks a year, or 4 weeks a month. It adds up a lot, you know? So for the last 4 years, they haven't changed the PTU wave system, which regulates who has access to the test servers and when. Over time, more and more players have gained access to various waves, which has ultimately led us away from our initial goals with testing waves. We have also come to notice that many players only log in once per PTU phase to briefly inspect the latest features or new ships before waiting for the live release. This led to very high player loads in the first hours of each wave release, combined with comparatively high server costs and download provisioning. There it is. But not the sustaining playtesting we would have preferred. This is their fault. I hate to put all the blame on them, but they've used the PTU as like they get people excited to play the PTU, and people jump into the PTU with no desire to do the actual testing. I mean, I'm one of those people. Now, generally, before I did content, I wouldn't really do the PTU. Then I started realizing that I needed to cover that stuff, so I did. But like, the PTU has always been sort of the cool new place to hang out whenever it comes out. I mean, I know a lot of people skip it. But like, the idea of tying it to subscriptions and all that stuff, like, you could tell that they knew people wanted the PTU, so they found ways to get people in there, but they never highlighted testing. I think this is what they did a long time ago, actually, was they were like, okay, wave 1 is going to be the people who are paying. Wave 2 is going to be the people who submit the most error reports. I don't know if that's true, if that's actually how it used to be. In my opinion, that's what they should do, right? Wave 1 should be the people who are sending in the most error reports, who are doing the most efficient testing, who are bringing the most feedback that they could use on top, in addition to, I don't know, maybe subscribers. And then after that, do whatever you will. But I do think that there's like something to be said about letting people in for specifically error testing, not just playing the game, you know? They basically made PTU a early access for features rather than testing in QA, right? I don't think they highlighted the testing enough with the PTU over the years. They're fixing what they didn't have right, rip the Band-Aid. That's fair. I don't know what these... I've been here for too long. I don't know what these mean. Legatus, Navium, Praetorium, Wing Commander, Space Marshal, Grand Admiral, High Admiral. I just know that Concierge is after 1,000. I don't know what... The fact that there are names for them, I don't like that either. I'm not big on the whole money thing with this game. But they're basically gating it for people who have spent a certain amount of money and people who have played a lot in the last 2 major patch cycles. Dang, does that mean 319 and 318? Yeah, I guess so. They wouldn't include 317 there. It's the level of investment. Yeah, no, I get that. I don't know what each one stands for. So, like, some of these, I'm guessing one of these is like 5,000, one of them is 10,000, one of them is 20,000, 50,000. I have no idea what those numbers are. But that's kind of where they're gating it around. I'm not that picky about how they do these waves. I just think that the first people should get access are the people who are doing the most testing. And I mean, they say here it's the top active players by hours rated. I don't think that's, I don't know. What do you guys think? You think it should be playtime rather than like how much you've put into helping the game develop? Seems like that makes the most sense. How much have I spent? God only knows. I don't even... Oh, you're saying that's what the names mean, yeah. I've lost track of money spent on this because we just started buying ships for giveaways and stuff like a couple years ago. And that ended up really throwing me off. We gotta pay now? No, you don't have to pay. You do not have to pay. You either have to pay or you have to play. But it's not one or the other. Really hope they can justify all the time they spent on Squadron 42. Those features they plan on rolling over better be mint. Well, I don't know. If you're in charge of getting money in, you prefer having subs over one-time purchases. Yeah. Should definitely be the ones reporting bugs or being active in that area. I mean, they draw a lot of attention to that, you know? Agreed, Satin. Fate posted the concierge levels there in chat if anybody wants to check them out. HA? High, what is HA? High Admiral or something? Oh yeah, that's a High Admiral. So in that case, going by this, I probably won't have access until Wave 4. I mean, I might have to subscribe to get access. I doubt I'm in the top active players, to be honest. We don't really play it too often on this channel. If you're black, you get free access if you guide if you're guiding your waves right. Hey, well, I can't even... You gotta have your waves done well, though. Can't even do that in the game. What brushing directions? Abdi, dude, how you doing? So you're Legatus already? No, I think we're probably around $2,000 to $3,000 total, I would guess. $10 every month for 8 years versus $1K for the same value. Huh. I mean, the subscription is cool because you also get the subscriber flare, which is something that we give away, so I kind of need to subscribe for that anyways at some point. There's missing info regarding Wave 1. Also invites all YouTubers with over 10,000 subs. That's funny, Johnny. They would, you know how I know that's fake? Because they would definitely go for Twitch before YouTubers. They really like Twitch streamers. YouTube folks don't really get as much of that kind of stuff. Just need to give people a reward based on their activity to motivate people to go and test PTO on a regular basis. Yeah, dude, but Tirada, money. Really like Tirada, by the way. Check out his stuff if you haven't. But yeah, I think it's a reasonable take. It's one way to force people to subscribe. Concierge has been screaming for improvements on the poor perks for years. Kicking everyone down so the current perks look better isn't really a valid solution. Right, this actually... Did they used to let all concierge members in a certain wave, right? Wave 2 was like all concierge. Now they're actually kicking certain people out of Wave 2? Is that how it's going? Hey, it's Mrs. T. Can we get a Mrs. T in chat? Actually, the little fish. Where's that emote that you love? Concierge used to be Wave 1. So now they have kicked all the concierge members down to multiple other waves. Oof. Yeah, I don't know, mate. I mean, personally, I don't know how to handle this. I wouldn't know how to handle it, which is why I'm not in a position to try and handle this stuff. But I think this should have been based on the, what's it called? Gosh, what is it called? Error messenger terror thing, bug reporter, whatever it is. I think that's how this should have been based out. So yeah, I guess that's the PTU drama. You guys seen a lot of conversation around the community about that? People not happy? I mean, we're generally not happy people, but like more than often or more than usual. You sub when you like the flare, but 90% of the time you don't want it, so you don't sub. You buy ships you want. You'd rather have a ship for 120 versus a loaner you don't pick and some crap you won't use. That's fair. You got kicked from wave 1 to wave 4. Oof, because of concierge stuff. Who knows? Maybe you've played the game enough that they'll get you into an earlier wave. But yeah, I can understand why people would be annoyed with this. This is an interesting change. And I mean, it's not like it really tells people, hey, you got to go spend $8,000 more to get into an earlier wave. I don't think anybody will read it that way. Maybe some like millionaires who can just drop $10,000 if they want. But it does certainly push people to subscribing. And if that's the case, if they're highlighting the subscribers, I think maybe they should reiterate what the point of the subscription is. When's the last time they mentioned where subscription money goes to? Because we know it doesn't go to development, right? It goes towards the shows, the conventions, all that kind of stuff they do. Maybe they should come back out and say that again so people understand, like, this isn't a subscription to play the game. This isn't a subscription to get something important. It's literally supporting the open messaging and getting you some nice perks. And apparently, getting you into the PTU now. While IC participation is a reasonable metric, it also just leads to people throwing in dupes and is counterproductive. That's fair, but this just leads to people spending more money. I would much rather have us be in a situation where we're getting duplicate errors than a situation where we're encouraging people to spend money to get access, you know? Duplicate your errors to get access. It feels more responsible. You were the problem. You logged in wave 1 for 2 hours and just wait for release after that. It was you, Kinren. You're the one they're looking for. You try to stay out of the PTU. That's a good idea, to be honest. The PTU is rough. Subscription goes to pay for Jared's spaceship for his shows. I mean, that is part of the set. There's definitely a possibility that's where the subscription stuff's going. It's okay, Kinren. I'll let them know that they've taken care of the problem and they can let the rest of us get back in the game. Believe it when you see it category of Star Citizen. You've probably slipped to wave 5 with this new restructure. Yeah, you haven't been playing very much. Did I read the dev response to the above PTU wave restructure? It was pinged in Star Citizen Discord. That actually might have been what I clicked in on. Is it in this thread? I'm guessing not, since I didn't see it on the front page. On the SC Dev stuff. From Will Everett? No, I don't see anything here. Let me see if I can pull that up. All right, let's see. It was pinged in the Star Citizen Discord. Where was it pinged? I don't see it. It's probably earlier than I could find Discord, man. It's hard to find stuff on Discord after it's already happened. Believe in the project, and that's why you spent enough to nearly hit Wing Commander, but to have someone say your contribution is less valuable or imply you need to spend $10 more for something promised sucks. It's unfortunate, yeah. Dude, we live in a capitalist world, man. How much money you have determines so much of how you're treated in this world. And that'll be true for video games too. Look at that. That's why I'm buying a bunch of AUEC now. No, I'm kidding. Don't buy AUEC. It's a bad idea. Kind of fell off recently. Not that you played all the time, but it was only the thing. It was the only thing you played. Now you haven't played for a couple months. I get it. In fact, today I will have the pilot on my podcast after this stream, and I'm going to talk to him about that. Because, like, he has had the inside view of this game, right? He's worked on the game. So, obviously, he can't say everything that he might want to say about this, but I'm going to ask him, for people who are taking a break from this game, who are thinking about coming back at some point, maybe waiting for 4.0, waiting for stability, waiting for good gameplay, in your opinion, from what you've seen, what's their timeline looking like? And I'm sure he's going to have to tell me, you know, NDA, can't say certain things, but maybe he'll have a little bit more insight into people, into that kind of thing for people like you who are waiting to get back in. Do I still think it's possible that we see some huge updates to Evocati or PTU on CitizenCon, like some early server meshing? I think Evocati could see server meshing this year in some way, but I don't think we'll see it on, like, to the PTU, really. If you spend 7K and your neighbor spends 1K, should your neighbor get the same or more access than you? Always more access. Whoever spends less should get more. You have a question for me. You have a question. How you doing, Sky High? What's your question? After this question, we'll get into the roadmap roundup because we got some things to discuss, folks. We got changes on the roadmap, changes on the progress tracker, changes in my life. Just a little, angle that up a little bit. The big old changes in my life. And it looks like, look at that. Stream Elements miscounted the number of memberships we've gotten yet again. I am surprised. We need to fix that. We need to do something about that. It's very annoying. Which office did the pilot work out of? I believe he was in Austin. But I will have to confirm that. Which obviously, with so many studios across all the world, a person in one office is not going to have a lot of visibility in other offices. But everybody's working on teams with people in different places, so you know, you get a little bit of that cross chatter. The proverbial water cooler for the whole company, aka the Slack group that Chris doesn't know about. None of the game directors know about their secret Slack group where they talk about Star Citizen. Sorry, just changing this up real quick, guys. Want to not be a misleading scrub. A little schmuck with the wrong f***ing numbers up there. Silly Stream Elements. Okay. What was your question? If rock mining in a prospector, do you say rent it or buy it? If you have enough money, buy it. But if you're just starting out and you just want to do some mining, rent a prospector. It's way easier to rent one for a little bit until you can then go back and get buy an actual one after you've built up all the monies, all the funds. Because yeah, now that you can put like components and stuff on a rented prospector, you're not really missing out on much if you do that. Love the pilot ship reviews he used to do for Elite. I'm glad he's back. Yeah, they're going to be good for Star Citizen. Do I think they will release new game packages for Squadron 42 this sitcon? I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Socks are sold out. Our socks? No way. We still have plenty of socks. You should be able to grab them. Mrs. T, can you confirm? Do we have sold out socks? That would be wild. We got to get the people the socks their toes need covering. Buy it in game if you like the gameplay while you're renting it. Yeah. When I say buy it, I mean in game, not buy it out of game. Definitely get it in game. Okay, roadmap roundup, folks. Let's get into it. What is being updated now? So for those who don't know, we get a roadmap update every 2 weeks on Star Citizen. And usually it doesn't really change too much. It's looking at the next quarter in terms of the roadmap. And then we also have the progress tracker, which is less reliable, but at least gives you an idea of what the current set of tasks are for the company. Not everything that they're working on or that they plan on working on is on the progress tracker, but the things that are, at the very least, we can see that they are being worked on. The progress tracker is not something to live by, so we don't really depend on it, but it gives good news. But let's start with the release view, the actual roadmap. We can see that on that roadmap, physicalized cargo updates have been committed, adding new functionality to accommodate the release of the MISC Hull C. This includes both automated cargo loading at LEO stations, as well as SCU containers up to 32 SCU. So, two things that says. One, all of the cargo hauling you're going to do with the Hull C is only going to be from cargo deck to cargo deck. So, low orbit stations around each planet. That's Port Tressler, Bajini Point, Everest Harbor, and Sephirim Station. Two, we're going to have multiple types of boxes. Now, this seems to be implying that it's only working for the Hull C. Would love to get some kind of confirmation on that. But if it's only working for the Hull C, I don't know if we're going to have anything other than 32 SU boxes. I mean, I guess it's not like everything that you pick up in game is going to be exactly 32 SU or a multiple of 32 SU. So maybe you'll get like a half order and you'll have to get a 16 SU box. But we're going to start to see larger boxes in the game. And the question that's probably on all of our minds now is, do we get to actually pick these boxes up off a Hull C? Is this going to be a new cargo refactor iteration where you can pull the 32 SU box off the Hull C and maybe like empty it and use it for something else? Imagine, guys. Oh, imagine. Or could it be that they're just going to be like the old boxes where they're stuck on the ship and you can't do anything with them, you can't interact? Because it would be very cool if you could, if we could now get 8 SCU, 16 SCU, 32 SCU boxes and just have them to store stuff. Imagine how much loot you could get. Holy crap. That's going to be good. Engon, I'm gonna ask you to interact with me. So tell me why you want people to stop playing this game. And if you can give me a reasonable discussion point from your comments. So far I've seen you said this game is fake game, and stop play this game. Not really communicating yourself well there, but I'm gonna give you a chance. I'm gonna come at this from a we're gonna assume the best. If you can give me a reason why people should stop playing this game, I won't time you out if you keep saying nonsense. So I'll give you a go. Take the chance if you want, or sit back and enjoy the show. Maybe give the raft a real reason to exist. Yeah, I don't see that happening anytime soon, unfortunately. They said any ship that can hold a 32 SU box can have it. That was confirmed yesterday. Ooh, where was that confirmed? Does that mean the raft? Oh, that's huge. Does that mean we could put a 32 SU box in like a Starlifter? And when they say that any ship can have the 32 SU box, does that mean they can get them loaded at an LEO station? That opens up a lot of questions. Handheld tool can get 32 SCUs. Imagine that would be the case. Jay confirmed that the handheld tractor beam works. Yo! Alright, see now I think they could do us a little bit more here with these messages. Because now I'm like, okay, if any ship can use 32 SU boxes, does that mean that the Hull C is... I want to know. Alright, so that's interesting, but basically this is a physicalized cargo update mainly for the Hull C. I don't know if they're going to be changing any of the supplies or the economy or demand around these space stations to make the Hull C interesting to haul with. But this is a new form of cargo hauling that's entering the game. It's mass hauling, you could say. Now, on to the progress tracker. Really, there were no changes on the progress tracker that they've reported here. They basically just talked about new teams getting renamed. So we got the USPU gameplay team is being changed to the North American PU gameplay team. And that's mainly because the Montreal Studios development is going to get rolled into it. So Montreal Studio does a lot of their own gameplay stuff, and as we've seen, there's now a much more formal partnership between Turbulent and CIG. I'm assuming that means that their offices can interchange employees more easily. They can pull more employees from different parts of the world for Turbulent, and thus they want the teams to be combined, so it's now North America instead of US. Systemic Services and Tools team, as most of you know, we regularly go over their stuff on the monthly reports, on the roadmap roundups, all that kind of stuff. And if you come into the progress tracker and you go down to Systemic Services and Tools, you'll see that their kind of stuff is like air traffic control service, bounty hunting V2, you got freight elevators in here, dynamic populations and events, you've got NPC tracker services, persistent streaming, quantum simulation. They are very much focused on literally what it says, systemic services and tools. So in bounty hunting V2, you got things like virtual AI. Quantum simulation is the entire economy. NPC tracking services and schedulers are all about filling places with the people that are supposed to be there. All of this stuff kind of goes into the backbone of the game. And that becomes ever more truthful when you see that they are being renamed to the economy team. Basically, oh God, I just realized I was dropped off of chat. I wasn't seeing you guys still throwing in the chat messages. I missed them all. So yeah, the economy team is now a thing. Great to hear. Doesn't really mean too much until we can get an updated idea of what they're doing. I think the most valuable Star Citizen Live we get this year would be if they had the economy team on, but I don't think they'll do that because we would go absolutely crazy. Important to note with this change, though, is that they have limited these teams' deliverables to end in Q3, because after that, they're going to change the names. They're going to change it from Systemic Services and Tools to economy teams. So they're basically ending all of these services. Where do we go? All these services right here in Q3. Doesn't mean they're finishing. It just means they're going to transfer over to another team. So I think that's an important caveat. And that's about it. We also got the vehicle gameplay feature team, which is going to be focused on the persistent universe and its vehicles, while the vehicle feature team focuses on Squadron 42. What does that mean? Well, vehicle feature team is right here. They're working on stuff, obviously a lot of Squadron 42 stuff. They're working on aerodynamic control surfaces. They did some stuff on different vehicles like the Vulture, the Mule, the Cutter, FPS radar and scanning, which is weird because FPS doesn't really take vehicle stuff, but I'm guessing they were needed to make it crossover seamlessly. Master modes, jump points, MFDs, quantum travel, resource management. Like, they had a lot of very important things. I imagine some of this stuff will be split between the two teams. We will never stop chatting. No, we're always chatting. I mean, that's the funny thing. People will come into this chat and be like, stop playing this game. And I'm like, bro, I can't even play the game. It doesn't work. I'm not playing. We're talking about it. That's where the fun comes from. Get your C2 some 32 SCU boxes. That's going to be so cool if we can actually... I mean, if they're saying that we can move them around with our multi-tool, it would be so cool. Because, yeah, being able to move boxes of all sizes around, I really hope that we can buy them, too. That's something that we're also missing out on. It's like if you want to go and loot a place with some folks and bring a 4 SCU box with you, you have to do a whole bunch of stuff to get it. It's kind of annoying. So, this was the official roadmap update. Now, if you want to get in the know, you go to Shiny Hobo's tracker, the Shiny tracker, and check out the actual delta on the progress tracker. So what he's seen is that we got a new deliverable added to the progress tracker called Steal Evidence. Says a criminal mission type where players are tasked with infiltrating security post Korea and stealing files from Crusader security for a hefty payout. And interesting, they're taking Security Post Korea and they're making it like a multi-mission area, which is cool to see. That's how it should be, right? We should be getting maintenance missions, delivery missions, combat missions, all at the same locations, just at different times and maybe under different circumstances. So it's cool to see them making use of a existing location, bring some more activity to it, probably do a good job of getting different players on different missions to interact so they can see what they need to do to clear that up, make sure there's not a ton of complications. And then a lot of updates to deliverables here. We got bounty hunting update, V2. Looks like that was USPU gameplay team freed up 13 days of work. That is, again, one of the teams that's getting their stuff finished in Q3, so we can't necessarily depend on that. ATC service, looks like it got the same kind of thing. So again, I wouldn't take that to be anything for sure. And actor status T2 has been extended to later in the year. But that's I'm surprised that they still have that ending this year. They haven't really talked too much about it. I'm guessing it'll go into Squadron first, and we won't see that update for another year or so, at least, in Star Citizen, unless they're looking to bless us. Then we got a bunch of Squadron 42 updates on chapters. Take the question from the bot. This game is fake because of their completely disillusioned schedule. You bought things because you assumed they weren't just blatantly lying about their schedule. With how late they are again and again, scheduling-wise, we could see with Pyro, there's absolutely no way they seriously thought this was coming out year after year. Same with Salvage, that was supposed to be released every year for quite a few years. Honestly, yeah. Salvage was supposed to be released for such a freaking long time. And Pyro, no way that it was coming out in 2020. Which is, I think, the first time that they theorized it was coming out. Now, what I think happened was they wanted to release Pyro in a much different state than what they had now. I think that they did want to have Pyro out. I think the real problem is where they tried to say that server meshing would be ready for that. Because, I gotta think back, we did this stream a couple of weeks ago and we talked about how their idea of 4.0 changed from completing the Stanton system to having server meshing. And I want to say there's no way they could have had server meshing ready. So that should have never been, I don't think that should have ever been said. iCache maybe was the thing that delayed server meshing in the first part. But I think at that point, there was no way that was going to get in. So I do agree with you there. They should not have been giving their internal deadlines for that kind of stuff. And they continue to, actually they don't really anymore. And it's a good and a bad thing. I think they realized how bad they were doing at dates and how much that was causing frustrations and problems. And that's why they limited the roadmap and stopped releasing schedules. And so by all intents and purposes, I totally understand anybody who before that time was like, hey, you guys continue to miss dates. You continue to put things out there that aren't happening. I'm leaving. And I get that. For that reason, yeah, stop playing the game. But not playing the game won't really help with that. I think discussing it more would. And what was the other thing? Oh, lying about their schedule. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different reasons why they didn't meet certain schedules. I think there are certainly things that they said they were going to have, and there was like either A, they didn't realize they needed to do more work, B, they knew they weren't going to have it, but they wanted to say it anyways, and C, the priorities changed around a lot. I think one of the best examples of that is the work they were doing on mission givers and AI, bartenders, and all that kind of stuff, was stuff that they really seemed to think was going to make the game better and was going to come in at some point pretty quickly, until they realized that the game was just not going to support them and not going to run. That was before we lost Delamar. So I think over time they started to pull back some of those objectives and some of those goals they had because they realized the game wouldn't be able to support it until after server meshing. And I think there's other things like that too. None of that makes me think that the game is fake though. I don't know what that even means. Fake game. You don't understand why people join a Star Citizen live stream chat just to tell people to stop playing the game. Well, we're not even playing it. thing about making a game is that you can make plans to have whatever feature, but if shit doesn't work out or what you're making relies on something else, you need to adjust. There's certainly mixtures of they said the wrong things and they should not have, and those things were wildly inaccurate, and things changed and caught them by surprise. You've been waiting for a medical device for 3 years for the FDA to approve. And since you've been waiting for 3 years, by that logic, is it fake? Depends on what they've been telling you in the meantime. Would have just been Stanton 2 with different planets and the same old stuff. Before 21, their approach was pretty much release anything ready, even if there isn't gameplay content. Yeah, that was kind of annoying. That was a little frustrating. Why would anyone who likes the game stop playing? All they have to do is stop visiting the cash shop to get the point across. That's fair. We really need a new in-game term to replace LEO. Yeah, I keep thinking like, I can't, it's not LEO. What do I say? Possible to say some of the videos CIG has put out were a little fake. Oh God, yeah. Marketing videos for sure. Doesn't help that hopium pumps through Chris Roberts' veins. He sees the finished product, not always the hurdles to get. I don't know if hopium or just like chronic ambition. I want to say like obsession with the goal. Okay, scrolling down here a little bit further, we see there are a couple other changes. The character creator changed. Got a quick update, extended it 5 more months. But that's a Squadron 42 feature, so we don't care about that. These are all Squadron features. Character work is Squadron 42. Character creator, Squadron 42. All these chapters are Squadron 42. Disarray ammunition got extended. Distortion propagation got extended. As are both weapons features teams. Cutting T2 got extended. We don't really know how cutting is going to factor into the game. I'm guessing salvage will benefit from it though. Duster faction outfits. These, I'm so sick of hearing about the Duster faction outfits on monthly reports. Enemy characters, that's Squadron. Fire extinguisher, that's going to be used for engineering mainly and stuff like that. Looks like the end date was extended to previously to the 5th month. What is that, May? Interesting. Freight elevators extended to December. Oh boyo. Ah, freed up 59 days of work. That's weird. It's also kind of weird that this is extended to December since it's a USPU gameplay feature. You'd think this would be limited to Q3 so they could move it over to the NA PU gameplay team. That's weird. Headhunters, just like the Dusters. Incendiary ammo, also weapons feature extended to October. Map and radar system rework, moved to October. Military multi-tool, that's Squadron 42. Miscellaneous support stuff. Mission manager app, it's Squadron. Well, it says Star Citizen. It's probably going to be Squadron first, and then we'll get it. And that says work extended into August. Oh, it's moved closer into August. See, I don't know about these different apps being reworked for the Moby-Glass. I feel like it's all going to happen whenever the Moby-Glass rework happens, so I wouldn't expect this anytime soon either. Like I said, all this stuff really, we shouldn't be scheduling our expectations on this. NPC scheduler service, that probably got reworked with the economy team. Plasma ammunition, weapons features. Player interaction experience T2, that's our visor, HUD, and helmet stuff. That's the stuff we saw some of last year. Got extended a little bit. Player machine physical interaction, that's just using props. Pyro, good old Pyro, has been moved closer. But from what I've heard, I think this got removed maybe? I think I saw that this got removed, and I feel like they're going to separate the Pyro system and planets from the actual mission setup. Going by the monthly report, it feels like the missions are further along than the actual system, or further behind than the actual system, but we'll have to see. Quantum simulation, this is a big one. This is the economy. Obviously, it got shortened down to Q3 because it's going to move over to the economy team. Seated item handling is firing guns from a seat. Sliding is something new they've talked about for moving around at a sprint. We got space mines, Squadron 42 vehicle support, subsumption editor we hear a lot about. Swimming has been extended. Virtual AI is a big part of the economy simulation. That has also been moved closer, probably going to move over to the economy team when that gets added. And weapon, misfire, and wear. So, that's another big one. Again, extended into October. A lot of this stuff probably isn't having the downstream teams, audio, VFX, and stuff. We'll still have to do work on these kinds of tasks. So, even though we're seeing what they have to say on this task going up until October, we're not seeing the audio team on here or anything like that. So they might have to do extra 3 months of work afterward. That's just not confirmed. Walgrit, dude. Dropping 5 memberships in the chat. Matching your boy, Tyrus. Keeping us going. I appreciate you guys. Hope you're having a fantastic week, Walgrit. Happy Friday, dude. It's Friday, guys. How did we even get here? What SC thing is happening, Grav? We've just been doing some review stuff. A little bit of review before we jump into Star Citizen Live. I was going to actually look at the new Inside Star Citizen, but didn't have enough time. I took way too much time doing everything else, as I do. Say fake game in regards videos, yes. Can we play SC as a game? Yes, so it depends what we are talking about. Yeah, it's... yeah. What's up, Rusty Needles? Hey, how did you get to catch up with us yesterday? Am I planning on hosting for the SC thing happening today in a few minutes? Yeah, we'll be watching Star Citizen Live here. In fact, I'll go ahead and open up Twitch. I'll have to... I don't know when I'm going to do this. I have to do a reaction video to that maybe tomorrow at some point. No, not Twitch. Or not Twitter. We're going to Twitch. Hey, look at that. Oh, we were first row on Twitch until the ad popped up. How rude. Get out of here, Apple. We were first row. Things were going well. Things were going well, Twitch. All right, folks. So this is what we'll be watching for the remainder of the show. But before that, has anybody had any good, what's it called? Any good submissions into the ship showdown? Does anybody take part in the ship showdown in any big way? ISC was alright, kind of filler, but the fire looked sick. Well, yeah, ISC is going to be a lot of filler for the next couple months. Fire is good to hear about, though. That's always fun. Hey, check it out. That's cool. Had to get laid up in the hospital for surgery to finally see the stream live. Oh, man. Yo, happy to have you here, Michael. Are you doing okay? How silly was that bunker ISC last week being on Dro about making them look exactly the same? I think they could have done a little bit better with it. It was nice to see the Rastar tool and how it changed, but I think we could have gotten a different kind of look. It felt thrown together. No, unfortunately, you just woke up to see online doing another. You'll catch up tomorrow. All right, Rusty. No problem, man. Have a good one. Gonna work on a few submissions this weekend. See what kind of cool shots you can get. Awesome. You're voting for the Carrick fate? What? Is there a controversy there? What's going on with the Carrick? Oh, because it's already won before? Should be out of here in a couple days. That's good, Michael. Good to hear. I hope the recovery goes well and you're on your feet again soon. Alright, what's this got? What do they got for us?
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to another episode of Star Citizen Live, Game Dev, Mission Maker.
All right, this is
I
an
don't know what's
important
wrong
one.
with the cadence there.
I really hope we get some good details about the mission modules.
I'm good.
I'm Jared. I'm your humble sidekick this week. With the Game Dev shows, we usually kind of turn over the driving force to one of our developers who takes you through a bit of their process over the next hour. This week, we have, who are you again?
Elliot Mulby.
We have Elliot Maltby, and what do you do?
I make missions. Well, I'm a lead designer now, so not as much missions anymore, but I still make missions.
What he said. We are going to attempt something that
Look at all these cassettes down here.
every
We're going for the
single
old
person
school.
told me was probably a bad idea.
Including me.
We are going to attempt to make a mission
Oh boy.
from scratch using the mission verb, Star Words, Data Forge, RoboHesse, all the cool tools that are used, and see if we can't make a mission and even get inside and play it for a little bit within the span of an hour. Can it be done?
I think so. Finally, I'll be able to prove the community wrong because everyone says that I can't make missions. We'll find out.
Watch it crash halfway through.
In the show. I'm going to turn it over to, who are you again?
Oh my God, Elliot Mulby.
Elliot Maltby. And he's going to take you through a little bit of the rough flow, introduce you to the idea of it. So, Elliot, that's your camera right there. Let's go to that camera. So,
Hi.
Hello.
Sit back a
Look
little.
at that keyboard.
Frame. There you go. There you go. Good framing. So, tell them what we're doing today.
So, today we're going
Those
to
are
be
some
going
massive
through,
keys.
A mission. So we have a sort of a rough pitch outline for it. So I am going to be making a prototype experience of the mission where we can play it, see how it feels, see how it plays, and then iterate on it, improve it, and then decide if we want to like wait for more things to come in to make it even better, or if we think it's a good enough experience to put it out and then improve on it as time passes by. So that's pretty much it.
So, walk us through. What's the rough flow? What are we aiming to do?
Okay.
Why did Port Olisar need a replacement? It just didn't have all the facilities needed for gameplay now.
Which is, I go to a location, I knock the AI out, and then I have to go and deliver them. That is the very roughest flow of it.
Oi.
Bob's your uncle.
Simple, right?
Having to deliver a body in this game, recipe for
So,
disaster.
Is there any more to explain before we jump into the process?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things that I'm going to try to do. So as people might know, I don't like hand-holding. So there are certain things we do currently in Star Citizen. For example, when you get to the location, we would mark the ship, and then when the AI spawns, we then mark the AI for you to get. Listen, right? It's war.
Listen, yeah.
I've got like a 20-pound light staring at me.
Also,
So
hundreds
we
of
then
people.
mark the AI for you to take out. Now I'm going to try and remove those aspects. So I want to leverage the scanning gameplay. So you actually have to ping, scan, whatever to find the ship. And once it has been detected by your ship, I'll mark it then. And then when you get into the ship, I won't mark the AI directly. I will wait until either they see you or you are within a certain range of them. This is kind of like an imperfect solution because it's either I mark them, so you always know where they are and you beeline straight to their location. I do this, but the perfect solution would be, say, FPS scanning.
Yeah, I was going to say.
We don't have that yet. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
that's
like
such a big point. Like, every mission that they build is going to have to be reconsidered later because these features that are obviously going to be used for these missions don't exist. Like, FPS scanning would be the way this works, but he has to make a workaround because we don't have it.
Every good mission starts with helpful encouragement from
Presley?
Luke Presley. Yeah. We have Luke, so we're already ahead.
Repeat Luke Presley.
Introduce us to our tools. What are we using today?
Cool.
What's up, Russia?
Okay, so what the main and biggest tool that a designer uses is RoboHesse. This is a tool that takes all of our perf streams and loads them all here.
That's where our development funds are going.
And go through them. So if I was to click this, it shows other perf streams, and I can just jump between them, and I can click open my tool here, open my tool here, open my tool there. I can do things like I can get a new build. I can have certain files I care about for sync.
Okay, this is actually really cool.
Latest
Seeing a lot of things that we read about on the monthly report that we never get to see. Please open Subsumption. Oh my God, if you open Subsumption, I'm gonna be so happy.
Speed up testing and gameplay. And then there's the things here to boot the game and things like that. This tool was made by our amazing Jake Mule, well, not ours anymore. And me, Ben Dorsey, and Andrew Hesse helped to design it, and it has saved so many hours, not just on MFT's side, it is a lot of the people in the company use it, so. Okay. So I'd use this to boot up my tools.
Not gonna lie, I thought he said NFT.
Things like Subsumption, which is our logic-based editor.
Oh, it's the Subsumption editor!
Star Wars, this thing, which is how we
haven't seen that in like 4 years.
And last but not least,
it looks the same.
Data Forge, and this is how we build, oh my God, like everything in the game. This is where you build entities.
Oh, Mrs. Tomato, you're gonna be editing this later. Just a heads up. This is good footage.
You skipped over Star Wars. It's been a long time since we've talked about Star Wars. When you say strings, this is text strings.
Text strings. Lock IDs, they're called. So
where did Jake go?
It's text that we put in and we put in the game, but it's in this sort of tool here, so people can localize it for other languages. But it's always like linked to one place. It's quite common in the games industry to have.
Dang, I'm so happy that we're getting to see this stuff.
For us to use it. So. Cool. All right. So. First things first.
We get to actually see him lay out a subsumption tree. They've literally never shown us that in all of the years. 6 years we've been seeing subsumption, hearing about it, and they've never shown us it actually working.
And this is going to be called Subdue.
That I know of.
Subdue. I can't spell, by the way. And recover. Boom.
Jake made that robo tool.
And then when it responds.
Jake doesn't do game code. He does community management and roadmap stuff, I thought.
Okay. So I've opened up the folder for Subdue and Recover, and in here I'm going to make a bunch of strings. So I need to make a story. So the story usually consists of three initial strings, which would be the title, the description, and then the from string. I don't need to use the from string because I'm going to use a mission giver that already exists. I'm going to use Ruto. I'm sure many of you know Ruto.
Hate Ruto.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make, so the lock ID is how we link it. So the English text is the text and the lock ID is how we sort of.
You spent $800 this week?
So I'm going to do oh my God.
That's a lot, my friend.
Subdue and recover _ title. And what I'm going to do to save myself time is I'm going to copy that so I don't have to retype it. New description. So the title is going to be, which I've already thought of the story. This was I planned the story ready for this because I thought it was good.
Better be good then.
The title is going to be called A Personal Request. And the description, which I'll open into a big window so everyone can see it, is this. Ruto's asking for help. His Jumptown operation has recently come under attack, and we've been struggling to get the maze to where he needs it to be. A certain pirate, arguably the worst, has been causing havoc and stopping his operatives from extracting it for Ruto. He wants you to hunt and bring them back to him alive. He wants to punish them and recoup his losses emotionally. And let's see if they can still say all good ships have a name after he's finished with them. So
I see some names in there.
Go to the location, you're going to bring back Void Dude and bring him back alive. And if you complete this, Ruto will expose his other hit list for you to bring in people like Detox, Old Man Johnny Morgan, Blasphemous, and Xperia. So they're all going to be hunted next up. So,
interestingly, I say that they focus on Twitch streamers a lot. Void Dude is an exception. Good for him. He does a good job of getting into that kind of stuff, as I don't think he's ever on Twitch. He's only on YouTube, I believe.
Yeah, actually I can just take it from my document where I planned some of this. So we've got the title, we've got the description, so we're going to go through little bits of it. So
we need more mission givers.
Go through.
Way more.
So we have, in missions, you have like a long objective, a short objective, you have a HUD, and you have a marker. all have separate strings because we might want to adapt them in different ways to display different things for the player. So what I've done here is I've put, so I've done the subdue and deliver, and I'm doing the locate part of it. So this is before you've found them, this is finding them. This is the HUD section. Now, so what this is on the top of the player screen, it will say locate. And right now on the screen, you'll see a wiggly line and it says mission and brackets target name. It looks very weird. But what this is that is a token. And what a token is that allows us to dynamically pull in data from the live game. So this is how we're able to do things like generate a name randomly as we go along and have it fill in. So this would read locate Void Dude, or it could say locate Burks, or it could say locate Gabs. It could say locate Jared. Like it could pull whatever from our random system. So I'm filling these out. These are the long and short. So the long is what you see in your mobiGlas when you pull up your arm. The short is what appears when we flash those notifications up to you. Cool. This one that I'm doing here is an objective setup. Now this one is specifically for how I build the mission, because
doing well, Kosh. Hope you're having a good day.
Theory kind of way, and this is how when we build missions we think like this for other designers' sakes. So I go, okay, well the missions are subdue and deliver. So what is it? I've got to go there. We've got to enter the location. The AI is going to be spawned. Once I've knocked them out, I take them to a location. Oh, that's the delivery module. That's the delivery modular system.
Okay, we got a module.
This is a part of the delivery modular system that allows me to take the target's name and inject it onto the target. So this will basically say, when you've knocked Void Dude out, it will say deliver Void Dude to wherever. Cool. Next up, we have the, the way that I'm thinking about doing this is I want to show something cool and new that you guys might not have seen. There's a designer on our team called Nick,
hey, Ren,
who has been working on having ships like the 890 Jump, but all have AI on. So we could do things, missions in the future where you just have to go and eliminate a certain person on a ship, or you've got to go into the ship for some reason and we want combat in there. So I'm going to be using that. So I want to name the ship. So I'm going to name the ship All Good Ships, which is just because that's what Void Dude says. Next up, I need to make a few more strings, so I'm just going to spam that button a little bit. Locate and subdue. Right, so then these are the next part. So this is the
what's up, Cologne?
Part of the mission. So this is the player has to, this is the general part of the mission, sorry. This is like the header objective that's going to be go there and take them out. Again, it uses the tokens. So we're going to just drag and drop some of the other ones in there. Some of this I probably won't be. I feel like I should never had dead air, but some of it's going to be because I'm literally, when I'm building this, I'm just sat with my headphones on quietly.
Love the game. Chris Roberts is a genius. The game, you hope the game comes true. Played all the great games. The opportunity he gave to become Star Citizens is spectacular. I'm curious, would you still be interested in this game if Chris Roberts wasn't connected to it? Or is that like a deal breaker for you?
So this is, again, just expanding the story. This is locate and subdue. Come on, Elliot. That's meant to be locate and subdue. I can't spell. All right, English.
Well, they actually spelled it really well.
Deliver their body to the mission destination. That's going to dynamically pull in where we send the player. And we've got the marker. So that is, again, that's the marker that will be on, I don't know, wherever I choose to use it. It could be on the ship. It could be on the AI once you found it. Yeah. And then
everybody get your stretch in.
Marker, the target marker. So this one is definitely going to be on the AI because I've called it target marker. And then target ship. Last of all, that is the marker, I believe, on the ship that I need.
It would be a deal breaker if he wasn't involved.
Okay, cool. So that's pretty much all the string setup. The last thing I need to do is make sure that I can see the strings. We have these labels to where we can say where you can see them.
Yeah, it wouldn't bother me.
So I'm going to set them to PU, and I'd save that. And that's my strings done and ready to go. So I'm gonna get rid of that now.
And what does the string get you?
It gets us, when we're building the mission, it allows us to see a flow of objectives and see if we're giving enough information, if we're not giving enough information. It lets us check that the sort of the dynamic information that we pass into these strings actually works. A few things like that. Yeah.
Basically all the text that's going to show up on screen for people.
Pretty
Whether
much.
it's in mobiGlas or their visor.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'd probably have to be work from the narrative team.
Okay. Next up, I am going to
Subsumption!
build the missions. Well, not the missions, the modules. So these are pieces of logic that will tie together to make the mission. Now, because we try to think modularly, I have to think about how I'm going to do this. So because I want to show you the ship thing, an occupied ship, we don't have anything to spawn them yet. So I'm going to build one. So I'm going to build it, but it's going to be a module. I'm putting it in the module folder, and that's because it has other use outside of the mission. It isn't a mission on its own. It is purely a piece of logic that fulfills a function for us. So I'm going to call it occupied ship spawner. So then what happens here is I can go from my...
Hold on. Paul Lee Callan says, can Jared look any more unprofessional?
Oh my
Is
God.
that a challenge? You can try. Keep going.
Just go throw a wife beater on.
You know,
No,
okay.
don't freeze on us.
Okay, so when you've made a mission, you are given an init and an uninit. An init is the initialization of the module, and the uninit is the uninitialization of the module. That's basically, I've started, I've shut down, yes. But we need to inject one more onto here, so I'm going to make a pre-init. A pre-init is the pre-initialization stage. This is where, for example, I would, when SOX came in, server-side object container streaming, it meant that nothing in the world existed, which changed how we built logic, because previously everything was streamed in. So we used to know where everything was. You could be on the complete opposite end of the thing to a pencil, and I knew the pencil was there. Now I don't know anything exists. So I have to tell you to go there so I know it exists. But that means I have to tell my module not to just start up, because without a pre-init, it will just boot up as soon as you accept it, and I don't want that. I want it to boot up when certain conditions are fulfilled. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a input variable. So this is going to be passed into the module by myself or a designer, and the input is going to be of type mission dataset entry. This represents our sorry, I'm thinking while I'm typing. There we go. This represents like our locations in the world. That's the sort of data form we have. So I'm going to throw on set module location. So this node allows us to tell the pre-init not to fire until the mission location that I pass in has told it it's loaded. So the mission location has it's assigned to an object container. So when that object container is going to have loaded, this will then go, hey, it's all ready for you, and I can move forward with it.
It's not going to tell you to go someplace that doesn't exist yet.
Exactly.
So this isn't even controlling AI per se.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to get that mission locations object container, and I'm going to make a. So the difference between these two panels, this is, I use the word global, but they like restrict the scope in which you can see variables. So this one is the global. So all these variables here for the everything in this column. These variables can be accessed by any of these like scopes here, whereas this is restricted only to the pre-init. These are my local variables. So I use these because I will clog up my global variables. If I didn't, I don't want them there. It's more efficient for me to make these ones that kind of just get like yeeted once the whole thing's turned off or has stopped running in this case. So I'm going to make a local reference to the location object container, and then I'm going to get the object's position, because what I'm going to have the designer do is I'm going to have the designer pass me in the ship that they want to spawn occupied. Ooh, pardon me. And then I'm going to spawn it. So I need to know the position so I can sort of anchor that as the route of where I'm going to spawn the AI in the sort of area. So I need to find a local position. So it's going to be location.
I'd be anxious. Not only is his boss staring at him, he's doing this in front of probably a couple, like 1,000 people.
L is only so like if I'm here not looking here, I can tell where the variable's scope is set, so I can like quickly know if it's used outside of here or not. request spawns around position. So when I open this is our quick task selector. We also have all of this you can go through and select, but I just happen to know the names of the nodes because I use them on a daily basis. Right, okay, so next up, I need to make the data that the designer is going to pass to me, or I'm going to pass to me.
Don't say you see me understanding this, man. My brain's chugging at 110% trying to keep up.
Spawn description is, imagine it like a recipe book. It's a recipe book before you bake the cake and put it in the oven. It's like all the information that it's going to use to build the cake. That's terrible. I'm sorry.
You're doing so good.
I know. Listen, you know what? It's
Dude, don't stress out, man.
That's why I have to train people. So you guys, this is what my team get and have to build missions with. So,
Uranus, thank you for the kind words.
Cool. So
always happy to talk about this game.
Spawn. So this is going to be that cookbook that I'm given. I'm going to keep saying it. You can all deal with it. And I'm going to. Then we have the sort of next. Sorry. The next inputs are the position, so that's going to be the root point of where we spawn, and then I have a range and a spread. Range is it takes the point and then it sort of makes a circle at a certain range that's safe and then spawns it. So mid is like 5k, and I think point is like directly on it. And what it does is it starts at that range. So if I specify mid, it will start from 5k out of that circle and start searching for a safe location, so it doesn't spawn into collision and then players can't get it and blah blah blah.
That's
I'm
nice.
going to set it to close, so it's.
And this way, it doesn't always spawn in the exact same spot.
Taryn, what's up, man?
Yes, it allows us to definitely get that sort of element of it feeling somewhat fresh every time you go there, because if you know where everything is, the mission becomes easy.
Yeah, that's good.
Next up, I need to make a spawn request variable. So I'm going to call this occupied ship _SR. So a spawn request, or this, so the blue input, these blue things are inputs and the gray thing is an output. So this is going to take this data in, and then it's kind of giving me a receipt, and it's going, we'll contact you about your receipt whenever we've done whatever you've asked us to. Sorry, that's terrible. That's even worse. But it basically allows us to get this information back here, so I can tell sort of if certain things have been fulfilled. So for example, I'm going to make a on ship spawned, and I'm going to also tidy this up because we don't build stuff like that because it looks horrible. Callbacks. I'm going to put it in this folder.
Give me 1 second, guys. Enjoy the chair.
Cool, and then next up, I'm gonna build the, so now the ship spawned. So I'm like, okay, cool, the ship has spawned. That's great. Now I need to actually spawn the AI on it. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna check to see if this is the initial spawn of the ship, which is this thing. And then if it is the initial spawn of the ship, I wanna do a lot of setup. I don't wanna do it every time because we get this callback whenever the ship's streamed back in. So if you go away from it and the ship streams out, when you come back, we need to retell the, say it's like a bounty. Say you've got your target AI and he's got a bunch of mates. We have to retell his mates to defend their mate or else they forget. So that's what we have this callback for. It's very useful for that sort of stuff. Next up, I'm gonna send an event to a mission instance, and the mission instance is going to be the parent, if I can find it, the parent mission. This is basically because I know this module is going to be called by another module. It means that I need to communicate back to that module to tell it when I've done things. So for example, I'm gonna jump and get this modular event. So we build a bunch of events that if we identify that we're sending a lot of events and they're always in the same sort of format, we'll just use a modular event. It's the same as a modular mission, it's just for a modular event. And I'm gonna pass in the spawn ship. So the spawn ship, these are things returned to me. So when that callback is fired, so hey, the ship spawned, it will return to me these variables filled in. So it will give me identifier tags. These are tags are placed on the ship so I can identify what it is. The initial spawn boolean, discussed that. The pilot of this ship and the ship itself that has been spawned. So next I'm gonna make sure that I send back that information because future Elliot might need it, and also the designer might need it. Cool. Next up, I need to...
Chair is the perfect host.
Spawned, and now I need to spawn AI on the ship. So that means that I need to search the ship for a spawn closet manager. This is so we do a lot of searching via tags because it's very efficient and it's not expensive to search. So I'm going to make a tag search here for the spawn closet. Spawn, come on.
Spawn closets, of course, being where NPC ships or fighters or whatnot pop into the universe.
I remember when that was a big deal. They were adding spawn closets to the game.
Yeah, and this one specifically is for. So the ship is going to have AI on it. So this one's going to grab the ones that are on the ship directly and then tell them to spawn. So the spawn closet system, even though it's called spawn closet, we don't have to use it like a closet with a door. We can also use it for what we call initial spawns, which is when the location is first loaded in and the player isn't there, we can populate them out and about. Because like if you get to a location and you was to beat the streaming and you just see them all walking out of doors, you're going to be like, well, hold on. So you've just come out because I'm here. So it makes them feel more alive if we can have them already out and trying to find their usables. And
sometimes the curtain is just getting them there before the player is.
yeah, exactly. Next up, I'm going to return the found objects, which is going to be the ship's spawn closet managers. Oh my God, how much time do I have left?
You're doing good, Steve.
You got like 30 minutes, man.
I mean,
I guess he still has to make this and then get in game.
Barely through the first half. You're gonna have to make this a 2-part, Jared. Cool. I'm trying to be fast now. Next up is the loop until. This is basically because there's going to be more than one spawn closet in here.
Got to keep going until something else happens.
I need to go through each of the spawn closet managers and make sure that I send the request to them. So
it's like literally like coding.
To create for our designers is an input variable, again of type spawn descriptions, called NPCs to populate ships.
Sometimes you just call it what it is. You know, there's this.
When I was in school, they taught me two of the hardest things in computer science is cache invalidation and naming conventions. And naming conventions.
Naming conventions is the number one.
Yeah.
It's the number one.
Current spawn.
Yeah, we'll do part 2 next week. I haven't asked Elliot, but I'll volunteer him for it.
No, that's too easy.
We'll do it next. We'll finish it up next week.
Bring on the economy team next week.
Yes.
Are they pioneering game development or complicating it? I'm pretty sure this is like standard game stuff here.
I pulled it out of the Pez machine and I'm going to use it. I'm going to eat it now.
So what popping's like?
Like maybe not exactly like this, but I feel like all of the all games probably use something like this to run mission segments. Fate, you going to sleep, man?
Yeah, because you
have a good one. Good night, mate.
No, was it not meant to pop out?
So it pushes out. You have like some automatic fire Pez dispensers when you're.
Well, what do they say? Tomato? I don't know what you guys call it.
It is tomato.
I'm English. I'm British, right? So it's tomato.
Bro.
Yeah.
I would f***ing know!
Anyway, so I'm going to take the ship spawn closet manager that we have here. And I am going to then take the current spawn description that I've taken out, and then I'm going to make another local variable because I'm going to make multiple spawn requests here.
Space tomato. That just doesn't sound right, does it?
It's called L.
Although our bot on the server is called Baby Roboto Tomato.
Spawn requests. So what I need to do is merge them all into one, because they can only, the information can, like this node will overwrite every time that input. So I have to make it local, so then I can make them all call back on one, so I don't have to make like 1,000 callbacks. Spawn request. This one is going to be called something like NPCs occupying ship. I'll just go SR.
I will always reply to English people with
so
in it.
That's the spawn request for the NPCs.
Just that.
let me check all this is right. So I pop them. Yep. I then take the managers, and then I pass it in. Cool. Right. Nice. So this will spawn it. So next up, I need to make
Rockstar's using a system like this now.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
Is it just easier, or is there a reason to switch to something like this?
On the spawn closet spawn, which is this. And essentially all this one's going to do is send event to mission instance.
Akin to saying y'all.
Like that. And it's going to send the modular request again of AI spawned, because this time it's spawning a...
Arya, you forgot to say init at the end.
Yeah. So
saying init is akin to saying y'all in America. Init?
Then from there, that's the ship. The occupied ship spawner, I believe, done. So that should spawn a ship and spawn all of the AI on it for me. So the next thing I need to do is now actually build the mission. I've not been building the mission for the past 30 minutes. You stop it.
No, there's a thing.
Elliot's squirming.
People often wonder. You continue where
He's squirming on camera.
There's a thing.
Get him some
people
water.
often wonder why we do a show on this or do a show on that. And the number one criteria that I have personally, being in year 9,
the chavs,
as I am here, is I ask myself, would anyone else do this? Would BioWare do this as a piece of promotional material? Would Activision or anyone else?
I mean, we can only wish.
If the answer is no, I'm instantly intrigued
Well,
by it. It's
God,
one of the
wish.
things I love about one of the many things.
Wish we could see this stuff from other game companies.
When I see
Init?
them ever make one, they have a highly polished GUI for their tools, and they all work flawlessly. And it's like we build our tools for what we need now. They don't have to look pretty. They just have to kind of work.
They don't actually look like the thing that they're showing either. It's always a manufactured thing.
Yeah.
What I liked about this idea of having you do this is to show. We've been talking about the mission manager and the verbs and all this stuff for years now, and I wanted to show that you haven't done any. You're not programming here.
Thank you for that, Mango. Good insight.
This point has been about building a system, building a modular system that runs through FlowGraph, that runs through all these neat tools like RoboHESI and everything to automate a lot of the programming work, so that then we can democratize the process of mission creation to dozens and dozens of other developers. So designers, who are typically not programmers, can come in and just focus on being creative. Once they get the handle, the understanding of a select few verbs, they understand the syntax necessary. This goes into this. This goes into this. There's a learning curve. I'm not going to sit here and say there's not a learning curve. We're demonstrating the learning curve here. But this is how we scale.
Yeah.
This is how we go from, well, if it took you 4 years to make X number of missions, how are you going to populate, another star system with all these
God,
missions?
I hate
How are you gonna
that.
populate
I'm not even a
10-star
game
system with all these
dev.
missions? This is how we do it. The game development is exponential. It's a lot of the early years is in building this framework, this groundwork, this foundation. Any more synonyms I can think of, this thing under the thing, where it allows you to then iterate faster and more efficiently as you go forward. And that's one of the reasons we've been telling the story of the mission manager and everything over, and the subsumption over this last year, because it having been here for as long as I have, it's exciting. I'm starting to feel like we're there. I'm starting to feel like we're at that point now where development can begin to scale up, and we can start making things faster than we have at any period in the past.
Yeah.
Barring things like
server meshing,
long-term persistence and everything.
The obvious.
Having to start over. But so I've been talking through this. We haven't explained this whole part. What are we looking at right here?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't concern.
What's up, Quasian? We're looking at the creation of a mission. Really, like a very basic mission being made in real time.
What's a spaceship?
I think it's really interesting.
I've heard of it. I've gone in. I've started building this.
You didn't actually drink out of your water. I just opened the lid. This is my water.
Yeah. So I've started building the main mission. So what I've done here is, once again, I've created a pre-init, because the pre-init will stop this from properly running.
Notice he doesn't even say init, and he's still saying init.
Need to find when you get there. So making sure that making sure that that none of this loads is pretty vital to the mission actually working. What I'm doing here is, again, that's just set that up. This is the module I just made. This is the occupied ship spawner. And I'm passing in the location it needs to care about.
So that's a ship module.
Spawn and the NPCs to populate.
Or a mission module.
And now
So everything you spent the first 20 minutes doing is in that box right there.
Is now in that box.
And like,
and this is how
they've talked about having modules. So this is a single module, right? This is a spawn AI and ship module. There's also the anti-up module, which he mentioned, which spawns waves of enemies. There's the item distribution module that spawns things inside of ships or lockers. They could just keep making these modules.
You're the one who chose to call it.
Yeah.
And like he said, democratize the software. Imagine if they were able to get the narrative team able to use this software to make missions. So like you get the coding possibilities of a dev, but you get the mission flow of a narrative designer. God, I hope they can do that.
I'm going to use the location OC I put here, so it's actually just on the location. So what I'm doing is I'm going onto my Star Wars.
Oh, I know. He's not saying in it. He's saying in it. In it?
We. You didn't do any of this. This is me. That I've made. That I've made here. There we go. And I'm putting in. So I'm gonna. So then we have some sort of extra options on some of these like nodes. So I'm gonna display the distance sphere to make sure you know just how far you're going, and it's not just a marker out in space. Yep, so I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna do a set objective oh my god, type display I can't spell.
What do you mean? Jared has been coding this whole time? I'm checking his work.
It's called the buddy system. Or the rubber duck. There's this thing in programming where
you talk to the rubber duck.
If you can't figure your logic out, you talk to a rubber duck.
I know that one.
On your desk, and vocalizing out loud will help you solve your problem.
Yay, intro to computer science. Where my intro to CS people
you know
at?
What? Mine's called David as well. You've made me lost my train of thought, David. Objective display. Okay, so next up, so the objective display is a fancy word for saying HUD. So this is what's going to display on your HUD. There you go. And I am going to also make it managed per player. So I don't always want to show the HUD. I might want to control it. Next up, I'm going to create a sub-objective.
A subjective.
So a sub-objective is going to parent to the objective I've just made. Boom. And this one's going to be called locate, probably. Objective. Or target ship location. Score OBJ. Cool. But this one is going to be hidden from you because I don't want you to see it until you get to the location. And I'm going to take the long string that we built. Stop. They didn't do anything, Elliot. I did. Short. So locate short and long. And then I need to make another mission objective display, but I'm lazy, so I'm not going to retype the node in. I'm just going to take this one from above. And I'm going to get the HUD for locate. And do that with it. However, this one, I need to not respect its inherited visibility. What that means is that, because this is parented to this, and this is not hidden, but this one is, this display would likely not show unless both of these were visible. So I'm going to tell it not to respect its parents and just go off the rails and do what I tell it to. Cool. Next up.
Hey, Shifty.
Objective display for players. Cool. Next up, I'm going to show the objective display for one of these for the players because I want them to see this one. So this is going to be the target ship location because again, I'm managing it per player, but I'm also telling it not to respect. By default, it's going to be off. So I need to tell it to be on for all mission players. And we have things called magic variables. And that just means that I type them in, and as long as I spell it right, code links it up, which I spelled it wrong instantly. It's mission players.
How many bugs do you think are attributed just to typos?
When it's me, quite a few.
Pernip, I like it. I like your vibe.
Bad at it. But
Honestly,
we try to when we
Midgard's the mission givers barely work, so you might just be running into glitches.
It's not a good way of like handling this sort of stuff. Cool. Right. Nice. So that's the first part. Sorry, that's the first part.
That's the second first part.
That's the second first part. Next up, I need to get a reference to the action area where I'm going to spawn them. So I'm going to do a, well, first I need to filter the action area. Set action area filter. Pull. This node, set action area filter, exists for a reason. And it's because an action area is a volume in anywhere that will detect when things have overlapped with it. And the issue that we used to have, and again, this is us like, hey, there's a problem here, and then sort of fixing it. The issue we used to have is that we could detect everything. When I was building Siege of Horizon, I used to crash because my action area detected a sprig of mint that was on the bartender's drink, enter my action area. So this filter thing, I requested quite heavily, and we got it so that I can make sure that mint doesn't enter my action area and break my game. So I'm going to filter for anything that's human controlled, which means that I control it, you control it.
We can't control mint?
You who is watching is a human.
Get some F's in chat for sprig of mint.
Mission area. So now I need to get the mission location action.
Brent,
area. So
I've heard about that.
So I have to filter it before
I've heard that's a serious annoyance when you just miss one character somewhere. You can't just search for it because it's missing.
It's going to get it with, now I've got all the fucking errors I shouldn't have. No. Yeah, so that will now filter down my action area, which now means I get to make, how much? 40? I've got 20 minutes left, my God.
Don't worry about it. We'll come back next week if we have to.
Yeah. So now I need to...
The wonderful thing about SCL is that it never ends. There's always another Friday. There's always another Friday I have to fill, Elliot.
I have to make missions. Which one of us is in the worst boat?
As much as we want to see content, it probably is pretty hard for him to fill every Friday with something when people can't make it to anything because they're all developing games.
Something so badly.
Okay. Right, so I'm making the action area callbacks for on entered and on exit for, again, human controlled things, which is good, but I still need to do a form of filtering. So on exit, I'm going to tell the player to come back to the area. However, I don't want to tell them to come back if the target's already been found, because if the target's found, they might as well just always have that marker because they're always going to know that information. So I need to make a entity tracker, which I will use a valid callback to know if the target's in here. So this is going to be called target ET. Cool. Is entity tracker empty? So this is me checking to see if the target has been put in this variable. And then I'm going to check to see if the person who's come in here is a mission player. So if it is empty and the exited person, the person who's left, then I'm going to add them back to an objective marker. So I'm going to add them back, the exited entity, to the subdue target marker. So that will be the marker that's like in the search area. Whew. Then when they come back in the area, actually, so I don't have to retype, I'm just going to copy these two nodes. So when they come back in the area, I'm going to make sure that the target once again is valid, and then I'm going to do a bunch cleanup. So remove objective marker. Where's my node? I bet it's remove player from. Yeah, it is. Cool. So this is gonna remove because they might have. I mean, even if they've exited and come back, I always need to make sure that this doesn't exist on them, this marker. So I'm gonna remove it. I'm also then gonna show objective display for players. This is gonna turn HUD on. So I'm gonna put the subdue one on for the entered entity. So the person, no, I'm going to turn this one off because this is the one that's already on their screen. Yes, 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 yes.
G. Kenny says, Jared, can you do an ISC about issue council? We did. It was super popular. Everybody was really happy with it.
Is there a more in-depth roadmap tracker that includes information for their sprints and deliverables? Not really, no. Not more than they have on the website. Yeah, people probably called that episode
Right.
filler.
Carrying on. I'm also gonna show that hidden objective, the one that's the locate, because you're in the area now, so you need to find them. Again, this is only if the target hasn't already been found, which is what that'll track. So I am gonna check the target ship location and do that for the entered entity. True, so they're both on, that's all, cool. So this is gonna, player enters it, the marker to go there goes away, the HUD that was there goes away, and it comes up with locate, and then it will show the objective in the mobile as well. So you'll see like locate void dude, and then kill him. Next up is an event. So this event is one that's going to be, that I've sent. So if you remember, I talked about those modular events in my other module. I'm going to register here and listen for it, because you have to listen to them, or else they kind of just get sent into the void and you never hear them. Oh wait, where have I put the modular? They're all over. Modular events. Where's mission modules?
I want that.
Modular missions. My God, my naming thing is horrible. Modular events.
I want to read this.
AI spawned.
Naming conventions. They have undone so many aspects of many, many games over the years. Like, I would wager that most.
I have no clue here, honest.
I don't know if most, but a not insignificant number of AAA games have had naming convention revamps during the course of their development. Just this, okay, we got to fix this. Like, we were naming it. It worked when the game was this big, and now the game's this big, and we've got to completely redo the structure.
If they're gonna do a ship at CitizenCon, it'll probably be a straight to flyable.
And goes, oh well, this naming convention is garbage, and they have to go through and they redo it again. Naming conventions are. I have many traumas in my life.
Yeah.
Naming conventions are one of them.
You want to know the worst? I mean, apart from naming convention, the worst thing I've done is not linked a node like that, and then booted the game, and then like waited for it to boot, got in, and then been like.
There's a lot of mission modules.
Yes. That's even worse.
Now, I want to.
I feel like they have the tools to make a lot more missions than we're getting.
It's because
There's a reason they're focusing on these specific ones they're showing us.
Where you're not on the big servers and everything. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to boot a local version of the server and client. So when you have done this part, and then you go to boot your local to see if it's working to the point, and you realize you've wasted that 20 to 30 minutes you were waiting because of a single line missing. That's why that's so tragic.
Yeah. And the worst part is if you pull like your lead coder over because it isn't working, you've not noticed that line. Maybe because you like zoomed all the way out and the lines are like tiny and you're showing another bit of logic. He's like, well, you didn't, what's that over there? And you zoom all the way in and he's like, ah. And you're like, ah, thanks, Dave.
One little tiny line.
One little control all.
One mono.
Yeah, performance isn't there for
quarter-inch audio
sure.
Cable.
Yeah.
But then that makes you wonder, like these missions that they've been talking about,
Next up.
are they gonna include these before server meshing, or are they gonna wait till after? Cargo missions, stealing data missions, all these different ones they talk about.
However, because of the
They're being
whole
very
thing I
selective.
Scanned for, I'm gonna make this objective marker exist, but not truly exist. Because I give it a null item, it means that you won't see it in game until I tell it to show, and I'm gonna tell it to show after you found it. So this is again going back to the modules we build. I'm gonna place another one down here. That is
Holy crap, this does feel like old Mac OS with the blue scroll bars.
in the ship that you care about, so the AI spawned. You pass in the objective that has the marker on it because it will turn it on for you, and I leave this to true. So what this
Have
will
a good
do
one,
is
Uranus.
it will detect everywhere you can find a ship via a radar. Now, everywhere you can find a ship via a radar is passive scan, which is it just pops up on your little radar on your ship. There's something called blob, and then there's actual scanning. Cool. So, show objective display So then, okay, cool, right, nice. So next thing I'm doing here is I am just making sure that the objective is definitely existing for the mission players. In case there's been any way you can sort of get around it, which is that. So what you sort of missed here was I am checking the AI spawned, and I'm checking to see if it has a tag of ship, because then I know that the thing is spawned is a ship. Because if you remember when I built the module, I used the modular AI spawn for both the ship and the NPCs. So that's why I've done that, so I can filter it, because then I know if it's not a ship, then the only other thing it could be is an actual like NPC AI that's on board it. So I'm going to build another separate entity tracker here, which is going to do a like a global sort of collect. So this is going to be all occupiers. So this is going to track all of them, and then I'm going to do something called compare boolean. And I'm going to check for a boolean that I'm going to make, which is kind of going into that, like, how do other designers use this? How are they going to pass all this information? I've got 10 minutes left. How are they going to track all this information? Oh,
he's like, oh.
Thank you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, how are they going to track all this information? Like, how are they going to pass it in? How are they going to tell me what they want? And this is sort of pre-prepping for what I know in my mind I'm going to give them tool-wise. So I'm going to do a thing where I detect if they've given me a target tag, which means they've said this specific AI, I want to be the target, compared to say grab random. Compare.
It's different when you have to talk through the entire thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot quicker when I don't have to tell anyone what I'm doing. But this is fun, right? We're all having fun.
No, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. This is exactly what I had hoped the stream would be. But you're doing a good job.
Hey. So the next thing I'm doing is I'm checking that thing that I give the designers the power to. So I check to see if an identifier tag, which is what a designer can set, has the tag of target. So then I know that they've specifically given me a target, which is this stuff. So what's going to happen is every AI that spawns is going to pass through here, and it's going to constantly go through. And if this has been set to true, it's going to check every single one of them. Is this got the identifier tag of target? And then if it has, that's where I can, sorry, 1 second. That's where I can go through and make sure that I pass the correct AI into the mission. So add entities to not proxy.
What I want to know is, like, where can they pull these AI from? It would be so cool to hear from the economy or the SST team. Yeah, this AI can be somebody who is specifically referenced because they are a virtual AI in the area with this kind of reputation. Like, how much does this integrate into the other systems we've heard about?
Friendship. You know, I got murdered by Darklaw on live. He just murdered me, and I checked his stream, and he was just sat there like this. Like it was the easiest thing ever, and he killed an entire SIG dev team, and just like then walked away.
Darklaw's pretty good though.
Player or morally?
No, player.
Okay.
Not morally.
Because then we popped in his chat. I was like, you know, you just killed me, and I'm not gonna try a Scottish accent or whatever. But he was like, I didn't know.
Darklaw, you're a jerk.
Oh.
You can clip that and use it on your stream.
Oh, we like you, Darklaw.
Cool. Next up, right. So I'm going to set an object. So I've added the target, which is the AI spawn, to the target list, and now I'm going to make a variable to also store the target as an object. Target underscore oh. Voila. And then I am likely going to also convert, I think, the target to. No, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah. No, we're good.
I'm trying to think through what I'm doing. So, next up, knocked out. So, if, and because it's subdue, it means that I need to track if they've been knocked out, subdued. I'm going to make a callback on the entity tracker.
And that's because right now, the only way to subdue somebody is to knock them out. We don't have the additional bounty hunter stuff. Put them in stasis or put handcuffs on them. Stuff
Awkwardly, we were supposed to hear about that this year.
Making missions for a game that's still in active development is, you make them for the tools and features that are available now.
Yes, It's sometimes it's like you're shoehorning things in, and sometimes most of the time you're always just trying to get that feeling for what it's going to end up like, because you want it to play as close as it can, and then fix up when it comes to later.
How do they fix all of it up though?
So admission. So what I'm doing here is that you've knocked the target out. So Void Dude had a target on him to tell you to go knock him out. So now I need to remove that marker because the delivery marker is going to take over and tell you to go deliver the guy.
Right. You don't want to still have a find Void Dude marker.
Exactly.
Sitting there knocked out in your ship.
Just always find Void Dude.
And then what I'm doing here is I'm adding the mission as the owner of Void Dude because we have a lot of cleanup things in our game to obviously clean shit out of the world that doesn't need to exist. And when you kill an AI, it does that. And if you was to leave the area, the AI should be cleaned up. But because this is a mission critical item, we don't want Void to be cleaned up. We want him to stay. So next up, again, another module. This is one of the delivery modules that I think was about 20 minutes into that rant I did on the ISC.
Well, 20 minutes into the version they saw.
True.
And the version I had to sit through, it was like 45.
What can I say? I like what I do.
And we love that.
You know, it's despite what's his name, whoever it was, I don't remember now. You know, these shows, the reason I can sit back, the reason I can literally kick back, put my feet up, my VHS shoes and whatnot, is because Elliot is one of those
Nice socks, Jared.
that I trust implicitly. He's proven himself time and time again. He knows his stuff. Not spelling, but this isn't a spelling bee here. And I don't have to hold his hand. I don't have to guide him through the conversation, through anything else. I can just sit here and I can let him steer the ship, which is
I wonder
nice
if that's his computer. Do they bring his computer in here to do this?
I can say nice things about people. It happens. I can feel the heat radiating from over there. Just say nice things. Jared didn't say nice things.
So what I've done here, I've just filled in some of the nodes that I need to fill in on the delivery module that I'm going to call. And I'm doing a thing called stop proximity tracker because I want, when you go to the ship,
remote access, yeah.
the issue is, or the issue that I see, which is that whole imperfect situation.
Yeah, they're all on the same server, right?
Is you'll know where they are roughly, so you can kind of guess what floor to go to, and that makes for the experience that I don't want you to have. I don't want you to know and go straight to them because that's boring. I want it to be somewhat of a challenge for you because you've got brains, right? You can think for yourself. So
whoa!
Find them. Use your eyes.
Whoa!
Wait, the views and opinions of Elliot and Maltby do not represent those of Cloud Imperium Games or what?
I feel like that was V2 of you guys have phones, right?
I clicked Control S and I didn't mean
to. Jared just said all the
game developers and assumptions, right? They think we got phones. They think we got brains. They think we've reread. God, dude.
Communicate effectively on a live TV show without your head exploding from anxiety and brain detritus. It's not a skill that every human being in the world has.
I barely have it.
There was touch and go there for a little while. Towards the beginning, like there's a moment about like 7 minutes in where it happens.
Is that where you held my hand?
Yes.
So now you know how nervous we were.
Comfort.
I
felt it. I felt the sweat.
You got 2 minutes, Elliot.
So what I've just done quickly here is I've made a modular, so we have this event called the modular mission objective event. And this is basically, has this module I've built completed its core objective? So in this case, this is going to be the delivery objective, calling back, telling me it's done. So I'm going to check just to make sure the player's completed it. And then after that, I'm going to complete the mission because you've done your work there. That's it, right? Yeah, complete. Nice, good, easy, real easy one. Next up, we have the ship. So the ship spawned, we have a ship. I've converted it to a ship reference purely so I can get this callback, which is on object entered. This allows me to know when you, the player, has entered the ship. And then from here, I can do that, do the thing where I take all your markers away and like let you use your eyes to go and hunt for them. However, I'll give you that hand of the proximity tracker.
Yes, dude. Oh, God, We need that so badly.
So place
FPS radar and scanning.
Entered person, nice.
He's building a mission
Target
using the
station,
assumption editor.
set
So we're
mission,
basically seeing graphical coding.
mission, objective display. So now I'm gonna put on an objective display which is telling you to subdue Void Dude. Yep, so I need to find my string for it. Give me 2 seconds, which is this, boom. So this is gonna say like locate and subdue target name, which would then dynamically resolve to Void Dude.
Don't take my scented markers away. When I was in grade school, we had a pencil machine. You put a
Where did that
quarter
come
in,
from, Jared?
They give you 2 pencils, and the pencils smelled. And they smelled like different things, like fruit smells.
I had to pay for pencils.
That's how primary school children got high.
It's capitalism.
Oh, was this when pencils was just invented? Because you used chalkboards before, right?
I'm a bit old, but not that old.
After
You
we
won't be
discovered
seeing me on
lead.
the next SCL.
No. Yeah, come back and finish this. Yeah, you come back and finish this, then we gotta play it and see how well you did.
Oh God.
Just put it in the PU.
But
Screw
someone
testing.
remembers the smelly pencils, right?
Let's just throw it into the patch right now. 3.19.2, let's go.
Let's see.
Are we even on point
All right.
1?
Well, actually, we're at about 5 o'clock. So, where's a good place to wrap this up?
I literally, after I finish this node, done.
All right. So, what did we just do? Where are we at now?
So so when you get to the ship now, I am going to take away the markers. I'm going to put a HUD display that says, please find Void Dude and to subdue him. And then I'm going to start a proximity tracker. The proximity tracker is just how close am I to them. So when you're within 10 meters, I'll mark them. And this can be played with, so like if 10 meters isn't right, I'll up it to 15 and so on and so forth. And then there's a bunch of next steps after this, but we're nearly there.
Yeah. So what we'll do? What are you doing next Friday?
I mean, working. Hopefully from Manchester. I'm off home for a few days, but we'll have to work that out.
All right. So we'll see if we can do next Friday. Whatever. Bring it back and then play the mission because I really like to get in there and.
No. Just throw it.
Yep.
Give it to
Yeah,
us.
same.
Don't even.
All right. Meet you over that camera.
Just throw it
Hi,
into the
everybody.
game.
So that's been Star Citizen Live Game Dev Mission Maker. I'm not the mission maker. He's the mission maker. That was Elliot. Good job, man. We've been doing game dev shows for 6 years or so now. We've never actually, it's impossible to make anything for Star Citizen in an hour.
Yeah.
But I think it's always important to demonstrate process, to show, especially this, the big victory of this system is that it has opened the process of making missions to people other than programmers. There's this perception, there's this mentality that you have to be a programmer in order to make games.
Yeah.
You don't.
No.
Certain aspects of it, sure.
Yes.
But part of the game development is making these tools, making Subsumption, making RoboHesse, making Star Wars, so that just other people who can follow instructions and can learn syntax, understand it can build these things, and that's how we scale up to the big immersive precision universe that we're aiming for.
Yeah.
Before we go, we're gonna raid somebody.
Oh.
We haven't rated anybody in a while. CLX, which
All right.
is a maker of custom PCs.
So, that basically wraps it up. They're just gonna go ahead and raid somebody. The point he made at the end there, that he wanted to point out how important this system was for being able to make this game at scale, and they mentioned it a couple of times throughout the show. He talked about it. My thing with that is,
take care, everybody. We'll see you here next week.
okay.
Bye.
My thing about that is, like, it would have been fantastic for us to hear or see this done 4 years ago, right? 3 years ago, 2 years ago, whatever it might be. Hey, it's Jake. Hi, Jake. I feel like it would have been so much more useful for us to go through that process that we just went through after having seen what it was like before. And this is kind of like the same thing as what they did last week on ISC. They showed us Rastar building the UGF, without showing us what it was like to build the UGF before. And they keep telling us about how like these things are improving their workflows, they're making things faster, but we don't have a bar. Like we don't have... They killed it when they told us about how the tools made planets faster, because we saw how long it took for them to get Hurston and how long it took for them to get RCorp. And then we saw how fast they got Microtech and its moons. We've seen that change with ships. We saw them build the ships out. We saw the process when they used to do the ship shapes, and we'd see them go through the ship pipeline and how long it would take compared to now when we see ships and they come in and they finish in a certain amount of time. The same thing would have been really, really nice for something like this, because like I liked seeing what missions were made of, the modules, the subsumption editor, all that, but also getting a sense of how quickly it moved along compared to before would have been really nice. So I liked that. I like to look at the mission builder, and I look forward to next week when we actually get to see it and practice the actual mission. But I would really... It's not something they would have been able to do today. It's just a matter of they didn't show us that a couple years ago, and so we don't really have the context for it now. But what did you guys think? We just saw the creation of a mission. The tool clearly makes it fairly easy for somebody who knows what they're doing, graphically based, straightforward. We hear about the subsumption editor all the time. In fact, let's just add some context to what you guys just saw. For the heck of it, I think, so that whenever you see another monthly report, you can remember exactly what you were reading about. Where the heck is the Star Citizen monthly report? Here's a squadron one. Here it is. So let's see if they have subsumption on here. Oops, not bookmarks. Don't do that. The subsumption editor received numerous improvements, including a variable type editor, the ability to copy paste states while editing a master graph, improved views of how master graph transitions are presented, an improved activity view for available sub-activities and functions, and a validation panel that present errors and warnings when loading and saving files. So that is what we just saw. So whenever you're reading about AI section, subsumption editor, that's the kind of stuff they're talking about. They'll never complete this game. It will always be incomplete forever. It's incomplete without Tessa. I'm glad you added that it's incomplete without Tessa, because I thought maybe you had seen my Twitter thread that I started out of annoyance. I basically quoted that. This whole thing where people come in and complain that the game will never be finished, and kind of aired my frustrations with that complaint, because I preferred people just tell me what their problem is rather than saying something that I can't respond to. But you're right, it will never be complete without Tessa. Tools are the key to SC becoming reality. Tools and process might not even have been matured enough to show off. But that's the thing. They were making missions back then. I would love to have seen the struggle of making a mission without these tools, you know? So that then, with these tools, we'd see how much faster it was. No, it's going to still take a while. I know, Cantor. Downstream tools may have taken a lot longer to go because of dependency chain. Yeah. You feel CIG repeat the same things all the time? Maybe you're becoming too old. We're all becoming too old, my friend. But I don't think they've shown us that before. I like that they showed us them making the mission. I think that's useful. You bet they didn't have a tool to do this earlier, and showing the creating process without a tool such as this would most likely involve showing direct coding. That's a bad idea. Maybe that's a possible reason why. Regardless, good to see their toolbox. Well, I will show you guys this. Let me, So I don't know if they were using subsumption to make missions before. But I definitely have footage of it. Let's see. So this is from, I think, 2018. But you can see, same editor. Fairly similar UI. And this was the footage they showed of subsumption back then. So I don't know if this looks like this is mainly wrapped around AI, which is what I thought subsumption was used for. I didn't realize it was used to build missions. But they did have the subsumption editor before, at least. You can see in the bottom corner of the screen here on its date. That is March 29th, 2018. So they might not have had everything that they have right now, but I think they would have had something, you know, anything that could have added context. It's not a big deal. I'm not like bashing on them for not showing us that stuff before. It's fine. I just think it would have added a lot more zhuzh, you know, more weight to seeing those changes. Making a mission in the previous method probably was so messy and one-off that it would have been almost impossible to capture with any clarity. Better than here is code. It's magic mission. Between the beginning of the Star Citizen project, we discovered what inside a black hole we discovered it a few weeks ago. Hey, I mean, that's good news for us, dude. We're doing good stuff scientifically. Also not so scientifically. Also not doing good stuff scientifically. Me and my wife have been having a lot of conversations about the sun lately. And I'm sure she just heard me say that and is now sitting there saying, no, tomato, please, don't do this. And I won't, don't worry. just a teaser. What's up, T Drake? How you doing? So I think we have enough time here. I'm going to be meeting with the pilot in about 50 minutes. I think we actually have enough time here to go back through that Inside Star Citizen real quick. Check it out. Apparently it's not too crazy, so we can fly right through it. But I thought we would have a little live reaction here. Take a look at it. So let me get recording here. Alrighty, folks. So a new Inside Star Citizen came out. We just finished Star Citizen Live, looking at mission production, which was cool. But now I want to check out VFX stuff. Now, like the rest of the year, we're at a point where information is not being shared as freely as we would like. Mainly it's coming through the monthly reports. ISC has been taking a bit of a easy seat over the last couple quarters, I think. Partially because a lot of the stuff that was meant to be worked on this year got delayed by PES. Also partially because CitizenCon is coming up. But they've got some stuff to say about VFX, and I've heard there's cool fire bits. So let's get into this, see what they make, and I'll add some context where I can. Cheers.
I'm Max Snowden, and this is where the magic happens.
Oh, this is definitely a VFX episode. Wait, is this from the 90s? What is going on? I guess 2000s with the Xbox there. Nice.
So VFX in video games, certainly in our games in particular, it's basically it's energy represented visually. So your more typical VFX explosions, fire, all that kind of thing, they're representing that kind of energy and the motion and the force and the violence that comes to. Even things like leaves getting blown around by the wind, it's motion in games.
Can we
VFX
hold up? Can we go back to the leaves real quick? I do believe. Hold on, I might have the footage for this right here live for you. I do believe that. Gosh, what would it be under? Leaves? Would I have saved that under actual leaves? We had a. Orison has those like flower petals on the ground. Actually, literally these flower petals on the ground. And when they were first adding them, they showed us the flower petals, right? The work they were doing on them. But they also showed us that they wanted them to be reactive to us. I thought this was a very cool feature. And one that I, like many things, expected to come not too long after the actual location came in. Because they did show us some tests they were doing, but I guess, I mean, believe it or not, it's not actually that important to the game, so they didn't bring it in. But here we go. See, so this is what they were doing. They were testing basically this for these same... They wanted to have these leaves sitting all over the ground, able to be kicked up by your player as you were running around them. And not a big deal, but that's kind of one of those VFX things I'm still waiting for, because every time I run past these leaves and they don't move, shake my hand at the sky.
Getting blown around by the wind, it's motion in games. VFX are everywhere in Star Citizen, so there's coolant, there's steam, there's mist, there's fog, there's falling leaves, there's buzzing flies. If the player fires a weapon, they're going to expect some kind of payload for that. They're going to expect to see muzzle flashes.
Also totally not just VFX for the flower petals, I know.
Depending on the weapon, of course, but they're going to expect to see impact effects. Again, without them kind of VFX in a game, it's hard for the player to really read what's happening.
Yeah.
They're not kind of getting them visual cues, and it sort of hinders their progress. I think VFX matter in Star Citizen because the visuals are fantastic in our game, but without the actual VFX, everything can look very static. There's not always the most tangible thing in a frame that the player sees, but when you take away VFX, they kind of notice that they're not there. I joined CIG 9 years ago, and there was quite a small group of us, actually. There was 3 or 4 of us, VFX artists. So originally, the VFX were struggling for consistency. It was obvious that it was a project in its very early days, and we were looking for that identity. We were looking for that kind of consistency of visuals, that language that can be understood by the player. And that's really why you build a team, why you build a department, to allow that kind of continuity in VFX in a game. So really, in the 9 years that I've been here, we've kind of built a department, a proper department full of different skill sets, different disciplines. We've got a whole programming team, we've got production, we've got embedded QA, we've got concepts. We've obviously got artists as well. We now have a coherence of visuals. We have a language that is understandable and works for the player. We had a good base in the first place, but now the toolkit is really, really powerful, and it needs to be for the ambition of the VFX in the game. So the VFX team is basically a microcosm of game development. The team is currently 21 people. We also have a core team within that, being the programmers, the production side of it, the concept inside of it, and the QA side of it as well. And we need that because we're serving other departments. We're serving art, we're also serving design. And we need to have that kind of skill set within the team to be able to do all the things that are requested of us.
I'm Leo van Steenkisse. I'm a principal VFX programmer. I do 2 things. I manage a small team, 3-4 people of VFX programmers, and I kind of handle the different projects that we have as a team that gets done. And then the second part is I do some programming myself as well. So I intentionally kept the team pretty small so that I have some time to program myself as well.
That's a hefty freaking job load. He's got to make sure other VFX programmers are doing their thing and program VFX. Good for you, dude.
Chesko. I am a VFX programmer. We had a team of 4 VFX programmers, and the one that manages me is Leo. I program specific graphics features and tools and other stuff related to VFX, specifically mainly for artists to be able to do work with and create really nice visuals from.
My name is Alexander. I'm on the VFX team as a tools programmer. My job is to create sliders and UI elements to make it intuitive for the artists to work with. We have a lot of different environments and effects, and we need to take care of every single one of them. And it's my job to make sure that it's easy for an artist to work with different type of effects.
I'm Callum, and my job in the VFX team is assistant producer. So generally, day to day, I do scheduling and just supporting the team in anything that they need to do, so they get to focus on the creative things whilst I deal with what they would class as the boring side of game development.
If the VFX team didn't have a producer, it would be horrible. He manages a lot and talks to other teams and makes sure we have all the information we need to be able to start working on a task. If we had to do that ourselves, that would be a lot of hours wasted every day.
The VFX editor is basically the place where you create the effects. You give it a texture or a picture, and you change a few values, and suddenly it moves, and you see coming to life. It could be a smoke, it could be a fire, it could be lightning. There is not much you can do without the code. That would make the artist a programmer.
We program everything related to VFX. That includes tools, that includes features, that includes smaller things like triggering VFX from game code to system for managing VFX, making sure that VFX stay alive, that they die on time. As VFX programmer, we get to work closely with VFX artists.
My name is Kevin, and I am a VFX artist here at CIG. 90% of the effects we make in Star Citizen are particle effects. When you fire a weapon,
A lot of particles.
at the end of the barrel, we will spawn a particle with a texture on it, and then we modify parameters to be able to make that look like a muzzle flash or smoke or whatever. So basically, we just have a bunch of parameters on how to spawn, how to move, and what a particle looks like.
Star Citizen is a really beautiful game, and VFX are a large part.
Effects really need to be tailored for basically every possible situation. This gives a lot of opportunities for creating visuals and effects in ways that you would normally not see in other games.
The VFX needs to be seen from every angle, from a very far distance to very close up.
We have such varying scales, from just small rooms to planets to ships.
Dude, what?
From just...
What kind of freaking scene is this? It's like an incinerator. You got these two dead bodies. Look like they literally just died there sitting. You got I think that's a grenade launcher. A data pad, trash bags, presumably with other bodies in them. Like, where are we? This is not okay.
Small rooms to planets to ships and even just empty space
Ooh,
itself.
that looks good.
Everything needs to be dynamic and systemic. So all the VFX, they are based on the underlying systems. We get to look at these systems, find the right hooks, and try and trigger the right effects at the right time. Getting all of that together to get a consistent whole is pretty challenging, but the results are always pretty cool.
The relationship within the team is very dynamic. We work together a lot, and it kind of depends on what you're working on to who's involved. Production tends to be involved a lot of the time, generally on a day-to-day basis.
See some lightning work. We just got updates that lightning can now jump from gas clouds and strike your ship and actually trigger your shields like dynamically as you're flying through gas clouds and nebula. It's kind of cool.
Production tends to be involved a lot of the time, generally on a day-to-day basis.
Working closely with artists and obviously other programmers is pretty great. There is a lot of feedback and information circling around what parts of what you're working on you may want to improve on, or even what parts are working well and should be iterated on even further.
Oh, that looks
good. It creates an environment in which no one feels like they're stuck on something.
Smoldering effects look solid. Yeah, the fish tanks in Orison.
So the VFX team, we're basically a support team for everyone else. We create effects for the vehicle team. We create effects for the locations teams, including planets. Any location you can think of, we're going to be adding effects to them in some form or other. And gameplay as well. Obviously, all of these things are design-driven, so we need to create effects that help designers provide that feedback to the player. We won't always be working on the effects at the exact same time.
We don't really come in towards the end, because we don't want to work on something that's going to get changed.
So that's the downstream that we were talking about earlier. For those who weren't here for that, we were talking about how you might be in the progress tracker looking at a task that has, you know, all their stuff going on here, but when you go to the deliverable view of that task and look who's acting on it, you might not see the audio or visual effects teams on here, which is because they usually come in at the end. They're the support teams that help the actor feature team and the EUPU team to finish off whatever task they're doing, so you might not see their work on the progress tracker. That's kind of what he's saying here.
We won't always be working on the effects at the exact same time.
We don't really come in towards the end, because we don't want to work on something that's going to get changed eventually. So once a ship has been approved, that's when the VFX team starts to work on it. Mostly people don't notice VFX. I think subconsciously they do. They look at a ship and they see a cool thruster, or when it dies, a cool explosion or whatever.
But then again, we have the subtle effects. You don't notice it, and the less you notice it, the better it is. It just plays in with the whole environment.
We provide a supporting role, and we contribute to making the game as good as we can.
That hologram's been broken so much.
So the future of VFX at CIG is bigger and better, as cheesy as that might sound, but it's maintaining existing effects, and it's building tools within the team that make that possible. So one example of kind of tool improvements to help us maintain as well as improve effects is external referencing.
Let's say you have two water effects. They look very alike, but there is a slight difference. And suddenly an artist makes an even better picture to use for these water effects. My job then was to implement a feature to just be able to change the picture of one effect and both of them change at the same time.
And what that's going to do is allow us to have a small group of master effects that we can then propagate to other effects libraries throughout the game. And it means we can maintain a smaller group of effects, and we can make sure that those improvements cascade throughout all the other libraries where those type of effects will be used.
Being able to have the same effect looking a bit different over 2 projects saves time for the artists, and it's easier for them to keep track of everything and upgrade the visual of an effect.
So that's going to streamline the process, absolutely. It's going to make it easier to keep a high quality, to keep updating and improving the high quality through the years as well.
So currently I'm working on lightning within gas clouds. We already have some lightning system in place, but now we're adapting it to be possible to strike from within gas clouds. This will give some extra...
Okay, that's what I was talking about.
For designers and environment artists to dynamically spawn the lightning and hit ships, hit players.
This is literally going to go in my monthly report tomorrow.
I guess.
I think the lightning is cool, but I really like the new fire.
So something that we're really proud of and that we've been working on for a long time is fire propagation.
A
so
long
fire
time.
hazards, and that's being handled by our VFX programmers.
The fire hazard system has already existed for a while, but it was never fully finalized on the visual side. So I'm currently implementing all of the necessary backend features to get fire looking as good as possible. As part of the fire visuals, I am working on more specialized way of
that's spreading
particles
fast.
for fire, which creates a more interesting dynamic way in which fire propagates, and
wow,
things start to look charred as after fire has been there for a while.
That's been kind of a long process, and it's still ongoing. It's very, very complicated, and it's very ambitious, but we're getting to a point now where I'm really, really happy with where it's going.
The fire hazard system itself is obviously gameplay critical. The visuals obviously help to communicate where fire is present, how strongly it's there, and to give a real sense of danger for the room you're in. The actual damage that the fire is causing on rooms is communicated through these visuals.
The fire is looking great, but back when they first showed us it, they highlighted how it burns different materials differently. I'm not seeing that a ton here. This is a early work in progress, just VFX, so that might not be there, but maybe they erred away from that a little bit to make it a little bit easier to do these effects on a more realistic basis.
Measure that the fire is causing on rooms is communicated through these visuals.
One of the best things about working on VFX for Star Citizen is being able to see your work enter the game so quickly, because we update the game so often. So being able to see your work in players' hands is always exciting.
You release a feature, some new VFX that are part of one of the releases, and you see players actually use your system and kind of push
it's a beautiful
it
shot.
to the limit. And it's always great to see.
Working on Star Citizen in particular is especially good because Star Citizen is a really, really good looking game. Working generally in graphics and VFX, I think personally is one of the more satisfying sort of disciplines when it comes to programming.
VFX is one of the big puzzle pieces to making the environment feel rich and full. I feel like that's one of the biggest gains of VFX, is making the game look beautiful.
Beautiful game for sure. People would be like, "Ah, this game's gonna look bad by the time people play it." Dude. They just update it.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, hopefully we learned a bit more about how downstream teams like VFX, these folks who generally come in towards the end of the pipeline, bring life, texture, and nuance to any game, add those finishing touches that elevate the amazing work of other teams, and add essential elements that really, really make the difference between the immersive and the not immersive. Now don't forget that this year's Ship Showdown has begun, as well as a new initiative spotlighting the various missions in the verse. I'm pretty sure this week it's Salvage. You can check it all out now on the Robert.
I want to see what he's typing.
Website. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thanks for letting us share the process of game development with you.
It's probably
See you all
nonsense.
here next week.
Oh, okay. It wasn't nonsense. All work and no D&D. Ooh, and an SRV. How about that though? Huh? We've been waiting for an update. And what's the date? What does that say? Does that say May? I can't tell. No, that says 8/08. So I guess this was only 3 days ago. Give us the SRV update. All right. Well, that is ISC, folks. That was the update on VFX. Honestly, it was a pretty... I mean, we were really just meeting the team and understanding VFX. There are inside Star Citizen episodes that are made for very, very casual people. Then there are inside Star Citizen episodes that are made for us, right? That are exciting, that are about what's next, what's new, how is it made, what's the process of making it. This was kind of an introduction to a part of game development. And I think they're really good to have as ISC episodes, but being at a time like this when there's not that much information coming out at all, I think it's going to make people a little bit less happy about it. I would say we could have seen more that has to do with the actual game in that one, but it technically met the goal of what Jared tries to do, which is to open the window to what is the process of game development. I think learning about how the VFX teams fits into the process is nice. It's cool that they let us know, you know, they're kind of more of a support team. They're not doing their own initiatives. They're helping others with those. The team is 21 people, right? That's more information that goes towards when people get in and they're like, hey, you know, all these people are making ships and that's all they do. And why aren't they doing anything else? Here's 21 people who put features towards other parts of the game. Yeah, it's VFX. Might not be that important to some people, but this is a broad and complex company at this point. And it's nice to get a little peek into a team. So, like I said, that was VFX. You might like it, you might not. Hopefully next week it's a little bit more exciting. I just want a sprint report, to be honest. But I hope you enjoyed that one. Thanks for dropping by. What about the Meet the Devs from last year? Yeah, that didn't go very long. They introduce things and then fold them into their existing shows. So they're still kind of doing the Meet the Dev stuff. I saw somebody ask about their game. Roboto asked about their new game project. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. How to get a stream of your room? What's up, Anno? How you doing? SRV's looking pretty good. It is. Can't wait for it. If you go back, you can see what looks like an A1 or C1 in the background. I bet it's the A1. They must be doing VFX work on the A1 by now. And there was a lot of cheese. That was an interesting cheese, Fanta, and muffins. It was a foodie episode. But yeah, folks, that's it for the stream today. I need to go eat some dinner and stuff before the podcast. If you are a supporter or a subscriber on Twitch, if you're a member on Patreon, remember, we are doing an interview here for the podcast in about 30 minutes. Not here, actually on Discord, with the pilot talking about Star Citizen, his time working for CIG, and his opinions on the game. But that's it for the stream. I hope you got some good news out of today. Hope maybe a couple of laughs, possibly a tear or two. You know, we're trying to hit the whole spectrum of emotions here. Little anger, little happiness, little sadness, because, you know, now we have to leave. And a little happiness to know that we will be streaming again tomorrow, folks. I'll be on earlier tomorrow. First, starting with the Greenhouse Podcast, community podcast, where all of you, if you're a member of our Discord server, can come right onto this stream and chat with me a little bit about the game, about your thoughts about the game, and particularly for this month, about 3.20 and what you were excited to see there. After that, we'll be doing some org gameplay, so if you're in the org, make sure to join us for those events. Tomorrow, we're doing combat, mining, cargo hauling, all the jazz. So I hope to see you there. But besides that, chat, I love you all. Thank you for the support today. YouTube, you guys popped off 10 memberships. Really appreciate that. I hope everybody had fun and enjoyed it. And I'll catch y'all tomorrow. See y'all around.